And we all see this because not of what we've seen so far, but what is ahead with SEC play starting this weekend. But even with all that, can we just enjoy the moment for a minute? Texas A&M is 3-0, top 10 ranking. Yeah, some national pundits have their things to say, whatever. But nobody's thrown for over 100 yards on them. Nobody. Can't throw on them so far. They got one of the best defenses in the country. They've outscored their opponents 85-17. And guess what? They've won 11 straight. Yeah, the price is high for excellence, and this weekend they're going to be tested. But this is just the way it is supposed to be. And with that, we begin the Go Hour here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio with Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter. OB, it is nice to pick at things when you're 3-0. It's better to pick at it at 3-0 than 1-2, 2-1. They are right now about to have their biggest test of the year to date, and that's okay.
Yeah, so far it's like been when you're hungry and someone's going to tell you what a great restaurant he's taking you to. And then you go and yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay. But, there's a lot of fat on that meat. It's not, you're not hungry, but you sure aren't satisfied.
So we've raised the bar. It's like saying, yep, we're going to this place, Olin's barbecue joint. It is the best barbecue you've ever had. And you get there and you're like, it's good. But, it tastes kind of like the place next door. Dalton's barbecue's bad.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Dalton's barbecue's not very good. So,
and you said you didn't like fat on the meat? I'm a big fan of the fat.
Oh, no. I've said too much fat.
Too much fat. Okay. Too much fat.
No, that's where the flavor comes from.
That's the best part of it.
But if you bite into if you bite into your sandwich thinking you're going to get a big bite of brisket and you get a big hunk of fat, it's just, you spit it out.
What is it called? The law of diminishing marginal utility. Like that first bite of a lot of fat is good, and then the second and third, you're like, I think I've had enough fat for a moment.
Fat. Yeah.
All right, let's get back on topic. So, it's funny, and it's around college football. This is not isolated for Texas A&M, but there's a lot of doom is gloom, and just the Aggies aren't as good as we thought, feel, and we don't know. There's still a lot to see out there, but I saw. Every week there has been a moment where you're like, yeah, that question's been answered. Yeah, that question's been answered. Yep, that question's been answered. Last week to me was, can Zach Calzada seem calm and patient in the pocket and deliver some strikes? I think he did that. He held on the ball too long a couple times, for sure. But I'm still waiting for that offensive line to gel. But each week there is something new that is answered, and maybe we'll have some more questions answered after Arkansas.
Well, there's going to be some questions answered Arkansas either way, either positively or negatively.
Yeah.
We were talking last week, when do you know who you are? And next week may give us that answer. You'll be, a third of the way through the season. How much better can you get a third of the way through the season? And now you're playing against a team that may or may not deserve that number 16 ranking.
As people say, maybe we don't deserve our number 7 ranking.
It's true. So, and maybe if you go out and beat a team that's ranked 16th, and, maybe then there's fewer questions about your rank. So, I think we learn so much about this Texas A&M football team this week.
Yeah. So I forget what the score was, but Arkansas had no problems with Georgia Southern. Maybe it was 45-10, something like that.
Something like that.
Yep. But I watched part of that game. Not a lot, but a part of it. I wasn't very impressed with what I saw from Arkansas at times. And again, you can look at scoreboards and decide, A&M, they win, whatever it was, 34-0. They barely beat New Mexico. They could have just smashed them, have 60 points at the half. The first 2 drives, they came out and they played great football. The game was over at that point. After the second drive, there was no chance New Mexico was going to be able to do anything.
You mean after the 4th play?
Thank you. Yes, after the 4th play. So that happens. And then they had a little lull like we've seen in a couple of the games, where all 3 games, really. They didn't move the ball very much. What was it, the second quarter against Kent State? Mm-hmm. Obviously struggles for a big portion of the Colorado game, 3 quarters to be exact. And but this game was never in doubt. They are a superior team to who they played. And I do think, I mentioned this to you a little bit at right before we started. I don't think we've seen everything from A&M yet. Like, they've held back some stuff. They've been experimenting a little bit. I believe that is part of the reason you've seen more throwing than running. I think, and they put certain people out there on the line. Blake Traynor, for instance, who had to come in for the injury out there. That I believe we're going to see much more this week, and obviously even more escalated when they take on Alabama in a couple weeks after that.
Well, I don't doubt that that they've got a few things in their back pocket that they haven't shown. I think they've thrown more than run because the defenses that teams are playing are asking you to throw, and because they haven't blocked consistently in the run game. So that's why I think they've done that. But I have no doubt that there are certain things that we haven't seen yet, or that we've only seen glimpses of, that will probably be used more, double tight end formations and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see more. We've seen a little bit of A-Chain and Spiller in the backfield together. I think maybe they were in the backfield together one or two plays. I think, there's a very good possibility to see more of that. Do whatever you can to get your best guys on the field at the same time and panic the defense and things like that. But it really doesn't matter what kind of bells and whistles you put out there, if you're not going to be better up front blocking.
Sure. Football's one in the trenches without a doubt.
And I do believe Layden Robinson. I think one of the things that was big difference between last week and this week is, like you said, you knew you were going to win that game. Maybe Layden Robinson plays if it was Arkansas last week, not New Mexico, because he, gutted it out through that second half against Colorado. Maybe certain guys struggling would have been lifted faster if that was Arkansas and not New Mexico. I thought I was going back and watching Reuben Fothery. He came in the third quarter. I tell you what, if you want a reason to feel somewhat optimistic about your offensive line, go back and watch the highlights from rewatch the game in the third quarter and just focus on 76 when he's in there. That guy was good. Some guys just weren't, but he was good. I think he showed that he needs to play more. Yeah,
he does need to play more. As we do every Monday, we look back and give out some grades out here, so we're going to do that. If you want to call the show, you can on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. All guests and callers join the show on the BCSI hotline. You no longer have to drive to Houston or Dallas or Austin for major eye surgery such as glaucoma or cataract issues. Let Dr. K take care of you right here in the BCS, 979-701-2020 on the top level of the Physician Center. Check out mybcsi.com. And the question for the day, give me a grade, guys, and why? Through 3 weeks of the season so far, what grade are you giving the Aggies? And OB and I will go back and forth. We're also going to hit the turning point. But right now, let's go to the News and Social Center. Ana Rosa Peterson is in the house. Hello, Ana Rosa.
Good morning. I am going to have to grade this weekend overall as an A because one of my good friends had an impulse purchase of adopting a puppy on the way home from visiting Austin for the day. So
there you go.
Overall, that, other than the Aggies winning, of course, that was the highlight of my weekend.
If you're ever mad at somebody, just go look at puppies on YouTube. You'll get over it.
You just can't look at them without smiling. You're right. I mean,
I thought you were going to say, if you're ever mad at somebody, give them a puppy as a gift.
Well, this is true. This is true.
That too. Yeah, but we're grading the Aggies this weekend, and Matt in San Antonio says, I'll give the defense an A. It has been wrecking crew material, and it will have to carry us because I give the offense a C for now due to the offensive line struggles and quarterback being an unknown commodity. I give Zach a mulligan for the Colorado game and played well Saturday, but need to see him have a full game against a Power 5 team in order to form an opinion.
OB, you were going to say something about that, about the wrecking crew.
No, look, was the defense really good? Yes. Outstanding. And has been. I don't think your wrecking crew status, you deserve that wrecking crew moniker. Until you go out and you play a good offensive team and contain them below their usual average of whatever they do. That's what Houston came in with the run and shoot and the Heisman Trophy winner scoring, and the Wrecking Crew keeps you to 13 points or whatever.
So if you keep Alabama to under 30, is that a Wrecking Crew in today's
I
football?
would think that might be Wrecking Crew-esque. Yes, I think. But that's
you better score 31 though.
But that's how to me, those Wrecking Crew defenses were the ones that played when they played good team. Louisville in '93, Louisville scoring a lot of points. Jeff Brom was their quarterback. They lose 49-7 or something like that. You go out and you just maul the good offenses, not the offenses that. I mean, listen, the best offense they played so far is probably Kent State.
Yep.
And Iowa held them to 7. So
that game, I think, was closer entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I think it was 16-7.
But the point I'm just making is that they've been great, and I don't mean to sound like I'm being critical of the defense itself. The defense itself has played tremendously. That second half against Colorado was
Wrecking Crew-esque.
Was that Wrecking Crew-esque? But as a whole, but then you see that same team get shut out. Now, I'm sure they weren't at the same mentality and all those things, but when I hear Wrecking Crew, I hear a team that goes against the good offensive teams on their schedule and controls them.
And let me say another point on Wrecking Crew-esque. I agree with you 100%. You've got to do it against Arkansas, then again against Mississippi State, then again against, as much as you can, against Alabama, and they look a little vulnerable. If you look at 1 week, a 1 week lens, they look vulnerable. But beyond that, where they have looked Wrecking Crew-esque to me is when they've had to. When there's been a 4th and 1 inside the 5-yard line, when you need them to not give up an inch in the entire second half against Colorado, they did that. That, to me, is where they've been Wrecking Crew-esque. But now they have to do it against big boy teams, and that starts this weekend. I do want to get into the turning point of the game, but I think we'll start that in the next segment here because we got a lot to do. And also, a little Overreaction Monday. I feel like people overreact, and that's us too. I overreact. OB probably overreacts a little bit. Nationally, people are overreacting. This is the greatest offense and defense I've ever seen. We'll talk about that and more here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You're listening to The Zone. Aggie Land's all sports station.
Howdy, y'all. This is Cullen Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field. And now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at energyogre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
Howdy, Ags. This is Dr. Krishna Shanmugam from BCS Eye Associates. I'm a fellowship-trained cornea and glaucoma specialist and eye surgeon, but most importantly, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2007. I was born in Aggie, raised in Aggie, and now back into Brazos Valley to serve Aggie Land, the incredible place that made me the person that I am today. We're the only fellowship-trained glaucoma, cornea, and cataract surgeon in town, and would be delighted to take care of you locally for your eye exam and your eye surgery needs. Give us a call to schedule an appointment today with Dr. K at BCS Eye Associates at 979-701-2020 or visit mybcsi.com.
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to Prosperity Bank, Kellybert Dozer, Zwerneman Flooring, and BCS Toyota. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Being in the Army National Guard is about more than serving your country. It's about being there for your community when your neighbors need you most. The Army National Guard makes college affordable, and serving part-time can help you graduate debt-free. Do you want to stay close to friends and family? The Guard allows you to serve close to home. Serving part-time in the Army National Guard lets you have the life you want. Learn more by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Texas Army National Guard. Aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is ESPN Radio.
Coach Nick Saban joined us.
I love coaching. I like teaching. I like being around the players.
Brian Day, head coach at Ohio State.
We're very young, freshman quarterback.
Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. Is it Boomer Sooner or is it Roll Tide?
I tell them Roll Sooner. That's what I tell them.
Derek Brooks, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
If they win the second Super Bowl, our defense or this defense?
Joe Namath is with me.
Man, dude, I got goosebumps listening to you.
All-pro tight end for the Niners, George Kittle.
Why'd you have to stiff arm Tracy Walker III like that, man?
I got to get my yak, man.
Football Hall of Famer, he is the Ronnie Lott.
The most amazing guys in God.
Touchdown. As Brian Edwards just scores a touchdown for the Raiders to end it from the former Raider. You got the live reaction right here.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Well, I think his early throws in the game, made good decisions early and was relaxed. And then sometimes when you play really good and that goes off real good, you keep thinking everything's a home run. Just hit the baseball. Just hit it hard or make the right decisions, what I keep saying. It ain't about throwing touchdowns. It's about throwing to the right guy, making decisions, making checks, managing. The game is bigger than anybody that's ever played it or coached it. It will bite you right in the tail when you think you're going to just go out there and do this and that. And that's one of the things he's got to continue. He has ability, but you got to continue to make the right decisions on every play.
The right decisions, baby. That's Jimbo Fisher breaking down Zach Calzada's game here this past weekend against New Mexico. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. Rollo Insurance is an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. Their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. You can call 888-44-ROLLO or go to rolloinsurance.com. So, as we're about to get into the turning point of the game, which started before the game started, but with Zach, the thing that the biggest thing I'll take away from Zach, he throws a pretty ball, and to me, he seemed comfortable in the position. Obviously, in the Colorado game, he seemed not comfortable at all for most of that game. He seemed comfortable. He held on the ball too long, doesn't have the pocket awareness that I want him to have. That may come against a New Mexico team that somehow was able to beat the offensive line a few times, and he just didn't get rid of the ball, didn't hear the footsteps. But I feel like he's trending in the right direction.
Well, I think he made progress, no doubt about it. I mean, he was significantly better. Now, the bar was pretty low, but he was significantly better. And you could say, well, part of that has to do with the caliber of competition, but I don't care who you're playing. If you connect on it with a receiver for a 70-yard touchdown, I mean, that takes a good throw. And I thought he threw the ball well. He was not without fault. Learned to throw the ball away. I think Jimbo said, look, not every play's a touchdown. You got to learn that. But he threw short well early, and then he threw deep well early, and he had some other. Of course, I think he struggles with certain passes over the middle. He had another one where he airmailed to Weidemeyer. It was like 5 feet over his head. But in that case, it might have been because Weidemeyer was decently covered. Now, I'd always give Weidemeyer a chance and like my chances with him. But overall, I thought if he was a D in against Colorado, then he was a solid
C+.
B. No, I even call it
B-.
B- to maybe even a B, solid B.
He wasn't a problem. The one pick was an issue, but I expect that to happen. By the way, if you want to be a part of the show, you can. Text 979-693-1150. That is the AMB text line. And, of course, always call the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. I am going to read one before getting to the turning point on the AMB text line. This comes in from Aaron in College Station. Number 1 in total defense, number 9 in yards allowed, number 1 in passing yards allowed. The wrecking crew is back, baby. And against inferior opponents, yes. Let's do it against Arkansas this weekend and against Mississippi State. That typically Mike Leach teams can bring it. And obviously the big test there on October the 9th.
Yeah. And that's when again, I'm not meaning to dismiss what this defense has done. It's been outstanding. But Wrecking Crew defenses dismantle great teams, not just poor teams.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the turning point. To me, the turning point was before they played this game. Talent-wise, New Mexico was it's not on the same stratosphere as Texas A&M. But for me, really, in the game, if you're watching and you're like, all right, game over, you know which play it is. It's the Damon Demas play.
I thought so.
Yeah, to me, that is the turning point. At that point, it was not going to be a contest. A&M, 2 quick drives, 2 quick scores. Demas on the day, what was it? 2 catches, 100 yards, a 70, and a 30. So to me, that's what really changed the game. That was the turning point in this one. And there was no turning back at that point, which to me also opened up the ability to see Moose Muhammad out there, who had a brilliant catch.
It was very impressive.
And then Devin Price, of course, getting in there as well.
Yeah, 3 guys getting their first collegiate catches, and 2 of them for touchdowns. I thought Moose Muhammad was really good. He had a 14-yard catch for a first down as well. I think the Demas catch made you, if you're New Mexico, think, okay, here we go. Now we got to account for him. And there was another play where he didn't get the ball, but he ran deep, and A&M threw underneath him because the safety had to go with him. And I think it was Chase Lane who made the catch, and it turned out to be a big play for a first down. You stretch the field. Now, did it result in A&M running the ball? Well, not really, except for I think there was one drive.
It was in the third quarter,
Yep. And I think it was Isaiah Spiller had like 77 yards on that drive of rushing, and 46 came on one play. That looked like an A&M team that we're used to seeing.
Another text comes in. This is from Rudy on the A&B text line. Were you guys not concerned that Spiller was run down behind by a New Mexico backside defensive end? No. I'm not. No, I know Spiller's fast, and there are guys out there that are fast too. You can play defensive line and be fast.
Spiller he's not slow, but he's not the rocket that A-Chain is, and he never has claimed to be. I've always said he doesn't have great. Does he have enough speed? Yeah, he has good enough speed to make a big play. We saw him that against LSU last year. He can go for a long, but in a foot race, he's not necessarily going to win a lot of them.
All right, Overreaction Monday. Let's react to a local and a national storyline out there. OB, you got something locally?
Well, I think I've already talked about it, is the whole crowding on the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
I think that's an overreaction at this time. But it just depends on what your Wrecking Crew standard is, I guess. But and I would but okay, to get off that, I think there could be an overreaction. And I don't mean to be a sunshine pumper here, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think there could be an overreaction to the offensive line struggles. There were some good plays, too. They were without a starter, probably next to Kenyon Green, their most experienced A&M starter.
Yep.
And
that affects the whole side of the line, goodness.
And, they're going to hear how bad they are and how soft, and that's the S word, the worst curse word in football is soft. They're going to hear how bad they were and how soft they were. They're going to have their masculinity challenged for an entire week, and I think it'll be extremely intriguing to see how they respond to that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to give you mine. It's about A&M, but it can be about anything out there. The fact that the Aggies aren't as good as we think they are, that is the overreaction. It can be locally, it can be nationally out there, that this Arkansas defense might be too good for A&M to be able to run on. And guess what? We're going to find out this weekend. Arkansas looked good against Texas, and we know they have a pretty good defense. But A&M also has, if not the best defense, one of the top defenses in the country. So my overreaction is A&M's not doomed. If they can play their style of game, they're going to win that game. If they can run the ball effectively, I'm not talking run for 350 yards on Arkansas. I'm saying run the ball effectively, play strong defense, A&M's going to win that game. They have to do that. They have to prove that they can block enough to do that. But that is my overreaction. Like, they're not doomed. They're 3-0. They've won 11 straight. Slow down with that. Nationally, to me, one of the biggest overreactions is Ole Miss. Yeah, they're 3-0. They look like they can tackle. Congrats, you're doing part of the game. I'm happy this year you know how to tackle, guys. They score 50+ a game. That was never going to be. Are they a team that may win a lot more games than expected? Sure, but who have they played so far? Louisville team that's not very good.
No.
Austin Peay.
Well, you're supposed to destroy Austin Peay.
Tulane.
Now
Tulane's okay.
Yeah. And they gave Oklahoma a hard time.
Yeah.
So, but I saw Oklahoma have a hard time with Nebraska.
Yeah, that's true. And Nebraska's terrible.
I think so. Oklahoma won that game 23-16, and if Nebraska could kick an extra point, it's 21-7. I mean, you go into the fourth quarter, and it's a
game.
Late in the fourth quarter, it's a game. I mean, it still was, but
it was a winnable game at that point.
I mean, a touchdown and you win the game. They, in case you didn't know, Oklahoma scored 2 points by blocking Nebraska extra point attempt and returning it.
I guess where I'm at with this whole thing with Ole Miss is, and look, I think they are pretty good. I don't mean to diminish how the job Lane Kiffin has done there, but they've beat the teams they're supposed to beat, the teams that they're supposed to beat, and they've done it the way they beat teams, scoring a lot of points. That's what they do. What is the big knock on A&M? They don't have a lot of style points. They've beat the teams that they're supposed to the way they beat teams. They beat New Mexico. They shut them out. They're supposed to. That's what they did. But people knocked them against, with that. I guess it's because they haven't improved one area, like Ole Miss. Oh, now that they've got the defense figured out, forget about it. They might be really good. They might be a test for A&M that we're not ready for. We'll see. But if 3 weeks you can write the book about Ole Miss, why are you writing a different book about A&M?
Well, I think you expected A&M to be good on defense based on last year, and they are. Maybe even better than they were last year. But what you did not expect, well, you wondered, was A&M going to still be the same team running the football? And so far they're not.
Yep. But they also are running it significantly less. How many attempts overall last week? I mean, not many. I think Spiller had 17.
Yeah, right. And if you're not here, you're wondering, well, is that because they're not running well?
I mean, at times it feels like they're not running well. But I think, to me, Spiller is a volume running back. Give him his touches, he's going to get his yards.
I don't disagree with that.
Do you agree that the Association of Former Students is awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I got some friends over there.
There's good people over there.
Yeah.
Lexi, she was just here on Friday giving away some free stuff. Appreciate that. We love the Association of Former Students. They're the oldest organization serving the A&M network in support of Aggies out there for over 140 years. The Aggie Network has empowered the association to be here, there, and everywhere. And for a few years, guys, I just kind of lost touch. I've told you this story before. Like, I just, I forgot to change my credit card, whatever it was. For some reason, I didn't renew 1 year. Then 2-3 years later, I'm like, oh, I haven't renewed. I saw the phone ringing. I don't know who's calling. I don't answer do you answer phone calls from people that you don't know? I don't. Voicemail, baby, or text me later. That's how I roll. Unfortunately, I missed out. And I'm all back in because I've seen the beauty. I see what they do. We know what they're doing with Aggie Park, guys. We know all the great stuff that they're doing out there, and it's not expensive. $100 a year, about $9 a month. You're going to get that decal, that plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping all Aggies out there. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved, or make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. You have 2 opportunities to walk through the voting process and cast a demo ballot in advance of upcoming elections. Demonstrations are Monday and Tuesday at the Brazos County Elections Office. Visit brazosvotes.org for more details. This week, for every cookie sold at any Blue Baker location, $1 will be donated to Hurricane Ida relief funds. College Station Newton Lions Club invites you to Miracle in the Park. This free family event at Wolf Pen Creek Park is Saturday from 5 to 10 p.m. The Bryan High Fine Arts Department presents These Shining Lives. Performances run Thursday through October 2nd. Purchase tickets online at bryanhightheater.ludus.com. Submit your event by email to news@wtaw.com. Your home for the NFL with Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night NFL from Westwood One is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Listen in from the first week to the Super Bowl on Aggieland's home for sports. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Question. Would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Game day on The Zone starts 3 hours before kickoff with the Twin Peaks pregame show, and it's powered by TexAgs.com. Game day on The Zone is brought to you in part by Gage Gandy Bail Bonds, Bobcat of the Brazos Valley, Tradition, Mobile One Lube, and Frontier Communications. After listening into the pregame show, you can hear every Aggie football game, home road national championship, right here on Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM.
I promise you, we got the mentality. We finally executed early. We finally got the good punt return, set us up, hit a nice play, and hit the deep ball. And we hit the first 2 plays. And then we went for a dry spell. Then we drive down and got a first. If I'm not mistaken, we on about the 22, 23-yard line. First down. Then lose a run for about 4 yards. Then drop back and just completely blow a protection and get a sack. And all of a sudden, we're ready to go up 3 scores, which is a big part of the game, to get up 3 scores and start how you're playing. And do that. But, I mean, the emphasis has been there. We got to execute. We got to do a better job coaching. We got to do a better job executing and playing.
Jimbo Fisher talking about scoring early, and that was one of the things that I did like about seeing A&M this week as opposed to what we saw against Colorado. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, they were able to score quickly, very few plays to get up 14-0. They did what great teams are supposed to do. Step on the throat immediately. They did that. Unfortunately, we didn't see a lot of it after the 14-0 for a little bit. It took a little while to get going, and then in the second half, obviously, they felt like they took their foot off the accelerator. But overall, they did what they had to do early on, get some early scores, get them some separation.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised when you talk about wanting to step on the throat. You know, they got up 14-0, and was it the next series? Yeah, they had a 4th and 1 after they had a 3rd and 10, and Weidemeyer catches a 9-yard pass, and they're at the 39. Now it's their own 39, but I kind of thought
go for it.
Fisher would go for it, and just say, hey, now we're going to step on your throat here. We're going to, keep going and turn this into 21-0. I don't blame him for punting, but with that defense, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see A&M go for it more on 4th down. Because with that defense playing as well as it is, you can take more chances. You can gamble more.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like playing with house money.
So, OB, I'll ask you, who brought the heat this weekend?
Oh, man, there's so many. But, I thought Michael Clemens played his best game as an Aggie.
That's who I put on my defense, Michael Clemens, absolutely.
He was everywhere.
And it's not just his stats. It was his presence.
His presence. He had like 3 quarterback hurries. You saw – Terry Wilson would look up and he'd see the Cyclops just throw the ball away.
Yep.
Because hey, I don't even want to try it. He was good against the run. He was everywhere. I thought Michael Clemens was spectacular. But are you looking for an offensive guy? Well, I'm going to go to Demas.
Demas, he brought it. Yeah, 2 catches, 100 yards, and showed that no one was going to catch him regardless. But he showed his ability to get out there, and I'm so happy that he has a connection with Calzada, because some people were bringing up the connections. And Calzada probably does have a better relationship on the field with a bunch of the second-teamers, because who was he working with?
Right.
The second-teamers.
Sure. That pass was just something to behold, wasn't it? Just a big arcing.
It was beautiful.
Man, it shows his arm. It was probably in the air for how many yards?
40-ish.
That probably more than that.
50-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long, because even though it's a 70-yard pass, he's probably, almost 10 yards deep when he throws it, and then 50 yards because Demon still had to run some. But it was just, it was one of those, you see it unfolding, and you're thinking, man, this is beautiful. Don't drop it.
Yeah,
and
that would have been a disaster. I was going to say, I thought Isaiah Spiller brought the heat, and he brought the heat last week as well because of the way he affects games. He didn't have the splashiest numbers, but I feel like every week you just give him the ball, he's going to make something happen.
Yeah, I'm almost penalizing Isaiah Spiller for being hot all the time.
Right.
You know?
But just, like against Colorado, he found a way to affect the game at the end of the game when he couldn't. This past week, there weren't a lot of spaces for him to run. He was patient, and then he made his money in the third quarter where he had the big 46-yard run, and I think you mentioned earlier the 70 yards on that drive, whatever it may be. He makes it look easy when he's out there. He picks his spots, and you just know you can count on him when you need. At the end of the day, you may not see a bunch of, you'll see a couple 2-3-yard runs for a while, and then he goes off.
Yeah, and that's what you can say about great NFL backs. Most of your runs are going to be 3-yard runs, and then bam, you hit a big one, and then you soften them up, then bam, and then those big chunk plays start coming in more frequency. I think what surprises me most about Isaiah Spiller is his style of play. He's a powerful, tough running guy that's going to run you over and all that, and then you talk to him, and he's just he seems so nice, He runs like he's a big a-hole, but
he's not.
He runs like a bully. He runs like he's wanting to hurt somebody, and then you talk to him, and he's just a soft-spoken,
nicest guy out there. And I'm still looking for a game, and maybe it'll be here against Arkansas for the complete arsenal, that running game. And I know we saw it statistically against Kent State, but just where we all offseason we talked about having one of the best backfields in the country. That's what I want to see. I want to see a game against Arkansas where Spiller does just. How many yards did Arkansas rush for against A&M last year? Like 200? I think they ran.
Yeah, but a whole bunch of them were in the fourth quarter when the game was over. And
I want to see a game like that, though, where we see that 180 from Spiller and that 120 from A-Chain. That's what I want to see. And then if Zach can throw for 175, 220, whatever it is, safe, that's, to me, I'm ready to see a game where all those elements are on display.
Well, there's no doubt that A&M had, some people say, well, they hadn't played their best ball yet. I don't think A&M's played well yet. So if you go out and you play a good football game, to A&M standards, good football game, because did you feel like they played well against?
No, I don't think they didn't play well. And by the way, I do want to bring up something about Colorado real quick. Who is that national guy? Is it Stuart Mandel, who just loves to just bag on the Aggies?
Yeah, okay.
I think
he does.
I thought the Aggies had a gutsy performance against Colorado, something like that. And Colorado lost. What was it, 30-0?
30-0 Minnesota.
What's their running back's name? Broussard. He barely played in that game. He got hurt against A&M. He had 5 carries. Okay. And Billy talked a little bit about this on Luchador. If you haven't checked it out, check out Luchador podcast there on TexAgs.com. Become a subscriber. That was their Super Bowl. That was their big game. It was a neutral site game in an NFL stadium. They brought their fans. It was just a huge game for them. A&M got slapped a little bit early on, had to adjust, whatnot. But I don't believe you can judge 1 week to the next and be like, oh, see, I told you A&M's not that good. Colorado didn't have their best running back playing very much this past weekend. They just did not. So stop with the A&M against Minnesota. That, they beat them 30-0. That just shows you how good A&M is.
Well, very often you'll see a team that is playing, and I don't mean to make this an excuse for A&M, but to your point, very often you'll see a team that is so focused and so hyped up to play a certain game, win or lose, the next week they're flat.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you an example. Last year, Ole Miss, since we talk about Ole Miss, they go out in the third game of the year and they push Alabama to the brink, right?
Yep.
Remember that game was 63-48? I think it was a touchdown game in the fourth quarter, and Ole Miss had to, and everybody's like, look at Ole Miss. The next week, they lose to Arkansas. You put in fact, they lost their next two games. You put so much into one game, and then it gets away from you, and you're just flat the next. And it's in all sports. You see it, unfortunately, I saw it with the Texas Rangers in the 2011 World Series. You lose a game that you think you can win, that you put so much into, the next day you're flat. It happened with the Spurs against the Heat one year in the championship. So that's not to say that, hey, it's not an excuse. A&M did not play well in that game, and now they're going to hold that against you because Colorado got shut out. But I would think a national writer whose job is to follow this and understand
should know that.
He does.
He's a troll.
But he's a troll, and he's got an issue with A&M because A&M fans mocked him some of their reasoning for the playoffs last year. Why A&M should be left out.
Well, my whole thing is if you're a troll, get a life. Really, we do this for a living. I don't see you trolling very often. I mean, ever. Not very often. I understand a ribbing back and forth. Oh, look at Texas. I get that. But to make your money on trolling, be better than that, bro. Likes and retweets and comments makes you feel so good about yourself that you're going to say stupid CRAP on the air or on social?
Again, that's some stupid crap. If you're such a nice guy, and I'm not. If you're going to be in that and have that position, and then I think all you do, and Stuart Mandel, if it was him, is very credible. But
and I know Liucci and him are boys. I'm sure he's I've never met the guy. I just see his social media presence.
But to me, that undermines your credibility because you should know that's actually not that uncommon for a team to play really well and then come out flat the next day.
Let me ask you a question. Patriots in their day, and this happened actually. Tom Brady goes down. Okay. Matt Castle comes in. Whoever it is, you can't expect the team in that moment to play as well as they would with their starting quarterback, regardless if the history with your starting quarterback is only 5 quarters long. Of course they struggled offensively. They're on their backup quarterback, loser. Of course.
I watched my team last year.
There you go.
After Dak Prescott got hurt, it was not pretty. Of course, they had other issues too, but that sure didn't help.
But it certainly exposes the other wounds, right? It shows when your quarterback goes down, then the other areas either have to step it up significantly or they're shown to be where they're at.
Oh, absolutely. I've watched, and I'm going to go all the way back to 2007. Oregon's probably the best team in the country with Dennis Dixon as quarterback.
Yep.
And then he gets hurt against Arizona. He's out for the year, and I think they lost their next 2 games.
It happens. Sorry, Stu. Appreciate that. All right, right now I do, by the way, if you want to, we're getting a lot of text messages on the A&B text line, so we'll get to those with Anna Rosa here in the next segment. Also, the BCSI hotline popping as well. I do want to talk about Chance McClain and Heritage Films for a second. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. Think about it, guys. Time on this earth is very precious. Your stories, we tell, my dad's told me stories, and I remember them, then I tell it to my kids. But if, it's a game of telephone, right? You just pass it on, then certain details get lost, the addresses get lost, the memories fade, and then, a couple generations down the road, you don't even know that you grew up on El Padre in Mission Bend of Houston, Texas. You don't know. You're someplace in Alief, I guess. So these stories are important, and they are important to be passed down, and that's what Chance McClain does such a good job of doing. And we're talking Netflix-style documentaries, guys, A&E-style documentaries about your life, your father's life, his life, grandfather, boss, you name it. He does it 8 to 10 weeks to get it done, and he is just an amazing slave to the process, does great, great work out there. It is very first class. Check out yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. Their number, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
This is The Zone, Aggieland's all-sports station.
Please join Pink Alliance Thursday, September 30th for their 18th annual Surviving and Thriving Cancer Awareness Luncheon, sponsored by St. Joseph Health. Featuring Lori Allen, breast cancer survivor and reality star of Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta. Come hear Lori tell her story as we raise money to support breast cancer patients in the Brazos Valley. For tickets or more information, visit survivingandthriving.org. That's survivingandthriving.org.
Everyone has a story to tell, and we want to keep telling your story, the stories that you really care about. Visit KRHDnews.com to submit your story, explaining why you think someone has a great story to tell. From things to celebrate to things that inspire change, everyone has a story to tell, and we want to tell yours. Our news team is anxiously waiting to hear your stories and continue connecting with the Brazos Valley. Visit KRHDnews.com to tell us your stories to be featured on air and online.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Listening to The Zone on your Amazon Daughter Echo is easy. Even Louie figured it out. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, and many of your favorite A&M teams anytime, anywhere with your special friend, Alexa. Step 1, and only one time, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it all up and say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill, and listen in anytime just by saying, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
Hey guys, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got to get to some text messages on the A&B text line, and of course the BCSI Associates hotline is open, 979-693-1150. With that, we go to Anna Rosa Peterson in the News and Social Center.
After just getting exposed for not knowing how old my dad is.
That's not good.
We have Tony and all the way in Lexington, Kentucky, responding to our topic of what grade he's given the Aggies. He says, I give the Aggies a B+. What were we concerned with after 2 games? Wide receiver and O-line. What 2 units rotated in some new guys in game 3? Wide receiver and O-line. The coaches are addressing our concerns.
They are. And if you want to look at the optimistic side of things, OB, these guys are getting some work in as we're about to get to SEC play. It's better to get the work in now before you get punched in the mouth against Arkansas's defensive front.
I could see giving the receivers a solid B, even an A, with new guys worked in. I could not have any optimism for the offensive line based on what I saw. I think they're going to be better
against Arkansas.
Because for the reasons I said, they're going to hear how bad they are all week.
Manhood tested. Hopefully some health is taken care of.
Yeah.
And I hope to see more Reuben Fothery.
Yeah. Reuben, and he was only on for a couple of series, but he was really good. Well, we were watching one play.
Yeah.
He blocked 3 guys on one running play.
Anna Rosa?
AP and Brian says, I give the D a much-deserved A+. The offense will be tested Saturday, but I have faith in them, especially with some of these new guys getting some experience. And Olin gets an A for banking on Demas scoring a touchdown Saturday. He may be the Romo of TexAgs, predicting plays before they happen.
Did you see the smile he just had when you said it? There was a little smirk.
No, but I'm laughing because I've been making that pick
for weeks.
Yeah, it's got to happen, right?
What else, Anna Rosa?
We can finally call him Nostradamus and not
Nostradamus.
Yep.
Olin Damas. All right. What else you got?
Charlie G says, I think you have to be patient with the O-line. I think it's a lot like the early season 2010 O-line. They were out of sync, but got more in sync. And by the end of the year, they were a good O-line. We knew what we had the next year. I think right now it's more of one guy busting either mentally or physically each play. I can see 85 busts once out there.
Yeah,
better figure it out this week.
Yeah. I don't take care of business against a team you've dominated for the last decade and move on and do it again against Mississippi State. Please get to that Alabama game undefeated with a rockin' Kyle Field. It's not a lot to ask, is it?
Well, yeah, but it's still very possible.
OB?
Even should happen.
Should. Let's hopefully we see it. OB, thank you for the hour. Appreciate it. That does it for the Go Hour. Coming up, Mr. Billy Liucci. We'll have him for the next couple hours here as we break it down here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
To Aggieland, only all sports station. The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Suck it up.
It's not a big deal.
Snap out.
Just get over it.
We've all heard it. But if you're experiencing extreme stress, it's not just in your head. It can affect your entire body because toxic stress can hurt us physically without us even knowing it. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, if you're feeling the effects of stress, we can help. Text STRESS to 211-211 to find a solution.
My name is Bobby. I'm a veteran and lost my leg to a roadside bomb. My victory was going from a wheelchair to becoming a weightlifting champion.
I'm Sam. I'm a veteran. My victory was finding a career I can be proud of and supporting my family.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
I'm a veteran. My victory was going from homeless to home.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran, and my victory was finishing my education.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support for victories great and small.
My victory was proving that disability is not a limitation.
My victory was getting my service dog a new best friend.
We help more than 1 million veterans every year as they face and conquer their challenges.
My victory is being able to be there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Want to listen online? Not sure of the prize rules? Would you like to learn more about your favorite host? Go now to Zone1150.com. Zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan, Aggieland's home for sports.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. Texas A&M has started a vaccination incentive promotion. Chief Operating Officer Greg Hartman told the Faculty Senate last week that the state allows the random drawing for voluntary vaccinations. A&M employees can register to win one of 5 prizes that include football game tickets and campus parking permits.
5 students who win will get a $14,500 scholarship to pay for education-related costs.
The promotion runs through October 14th. The sale of land where Blinn College was originally going to build a campus in West Bryan is 2 votes away from being sold to Bryan ISD.
Tonight's BISD school board agenda includes spending $4.5 million for the 95 acres at Harvey Mitchell Parkway and Leonard Road. Tomorrow's Blinn trustees agenda is not that specific. stating only there could be a vote to negotiate and execute agreements related to the sale of real property in Brazos County. Bryan ISD wants the land to build the district's new transportation and maintenance complex that voters approved in last November's bond issue. Blinn purchased the property 6.5 years ago for $3.8 million. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
A College Station woman is accused of striking a former boyfriend with her SUV outside a Bryan bingo business, then driving away. The man who was struck Friday afternoon was taken to a hospital for treatment for a swollen knee. 63-year-old Freddie Williams is out of jail after posting bond following her arrest for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. College Station's Blue Baker restaurants are teaming with the Red Cross this week to assist victims of recent hurricanes. Today through Friday, Blue Baker is donating $1 for each cookie sold at their 3 locations to the Red Cross Hurricane Ida Relief Fund. And there is a blood donation event tomorrow from 11 until 5 at Blue Baker's University location. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Casasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Casasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
For nearly 2 decades, TexAgs has been the #1 Aggie sports group online, and thanks to that passionate community, we've been able to grow it into so much more. TexAgs is now an industry-leading media company that covers Aggie football, basketball, baseball, and recruiting like nobody else. Our staff of over 30 consistently delivers in-depth analysis, X's and O's, award-winning video content, and the most reliable insider information you can find. So if you love the Ags, come check us out. Become a premium subscriber at texags.com/subscribe.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hilcosupply.com. 7th-ranked Texas A&M football had no problem with New Mexico Saturday, blanking the Lobos 34-0. Zach Calzada threw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns despite being under pressure much of the day. Coach Jimbo Fisher says that needs to be fixed.
Up front, didn't play very well. I thought they played harder than we did. I thought they were physical. I thought they banged us around. They were wanted to. They kept getting after us, and we need to learn to grow up and play a lot more physical. I mean, across the board, tight ends, backs, I mean, everything.
Coach laying down the challenge for his guys. All-American offensive lineman Kenyon Green says he agrees.
I mean, he's correct. We just got to get better. Got to get more physical. Got to focus more to detail. Hat placement, hands inside. Driving our feet. Doing the stuff that we practice every day. We need to take that to every play. On game day.
Now, despite the struggles, Kenyon and the guys are 3-0 on the year and remain at number 7 in the AP poll. For more insight into Aggie football, tune into the Liucci Hour tonight from 6 to 7 right here on The Zone. Number 15, Aggie women's soccer saw its home win streak come to an end yesterday, falling to 9th-ranked Pepperdine 1-0. With the loss, the Maroon and White fall to 5-3-1 on the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
The Liucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap, or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Liucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Liucci Hour Happy Hour.
$34-0 and then come off the field and tell the sideline reporter we're very average right now. Is that a commentary on like the expectations you have and where y'all are trying to go?
That's the truth. We're playing very average. I mean, we're much more capable of what we can do. But listen, potential is the worst thing you can have. Because that means you ain't done it. I hate the word potential. Somebody says you got a potential to have a good team. That drives me nuts. That means I'm not coaching right and they're not playing right. We got to get better in all those aspects, and we got to grow up across the board in everything we do and play with much more consistency as a team and learn to benefit and play off each other.
I love that. Thank you, Jimbo. I love that for several reasons. 34-0 is not enough. It's not enough. It's not about the score. It's about how they played in between plays, during the game, the flow of the game, the flow of this team throughout the first 3 games of the year. They are just not playing at the kind of level that we expect them to play at, yet they're undefeated, and they destroyed Oklahoma. You're listening to the TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Working on getting Billy here in a moment to break things all down here over the 9 o'clock hour. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, you can text the A&B text line at 979-693-1150. And you can also holler at the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. We're going to go to Ana Rosa here in a minute, but I do want to read this question because Walker's listening in Houston, and he's obviously a huge Aggie fan, and he's asking for a 30-second pitch on why you would move to College Station. And, I think football is a huge reason. But he wants to, his wife is listening. They got a baby daughter. And I'll tell you why. Quality of life. Goodness gracious. I have to go to Houston on Wednesday. I do not want to go. I don't want to sit in that traffic and worry about locking my doors everywhere I go. I like being safe. Hello, you can have some safe neighborhoods in Houston, but the quality of life here in College Station, these last 3 months have been phenomenal. I think it's been 3 months. July, August. Yeah, almost 3 months. It's been phenomenal. No traffic really, except game days and, a little bit on my way to work. 10-minute commute, all that stuff. It's been beautiful. Great schools. Quality of life to me is the most important thing. And great jobs out here. This is an up-and-coming town. What a city to be in. Property value is skyrocketing. It's just a great time to get in here because it's going to keep on going up. And it does have that. It's close, with Aggie Parkway, an hour away from Houston. If you want to go that way, you can go on 290 and be there quickly as well. So there's my 30-second pitch. You better move here immediately and raise my property value. How about that? All right, now to some football talk. Let's go back to the A&B text line. Ana Rosa Peterson's got some more stuff for us to dig into.
All right, and just to add to that really quick, I have to say the community in College Station is one of my favorite things. I'm obviously a student, but everyone is just absolutely so hospitable and friendly wherever you go. So
this is true.
I wanted to incorporate that. So back to our topic. We're grading the Aggies. Chase in Houston says, this defense is back being a top 25 team under Elko since he's been here. That's what this program stood for when it was the Wrecking Crew back in the day. Football has changed, and they have established they are back to being a great unit. It's a new Wrecking Crew now. And Texasito says, right now I'm giving the Aggies a B+. Quit letting off the gas, come out of the locker room, go for the throat, and don't let up. We let up on New Mexico, and we slow started with Kent State, and we barely showed up with Colorado.
Yeah, look, they're 3-0. I love the defense, and I do expect them to continue to being what we saw last year. I just know that there are certain terms in sports that are so endearing and mean so much to us that, we want that to happen again. We want the Wrecking Crew. Look, this is a different version. This is a different kind of college football being played right now. And let's just see what they do moving forward when they take on Arkansas, when they take on Mississippi State, when they take on Alabama. That's where you really earn that title, regardless of your record, right? I mean, record plays a huge part of it. But if you come out of the next 3 games and you go 2-1 and you've held all those opponents well below their averages, we can start talking about it. If you come out 3-0, forget about it, baby. That is for sure a part of it. Cletus in College Station also sending in happiness is Houston in the rear view mirror. I agree with that 100%. What else you got for us, Ana Rosa?
And Johnny in Dallas shifts our attention to Moose Muhammad. He says that Moose Muhammad touchdown catch is so underrated. It was an over-the-shoulder one-handed catch. He seems like a natural receiver.
Yeah, if there's one good thing coming out of all this stuff, there's a lot of good things coming out, so I don't mean to be overdramatic. There's a lot has been very good. I am so excited about those guys. Some of the guys that we've talked about watching and seeing what they can do. Yes, it's against New Mexico, but beyond that, how about Amari Daniels and the very limited playing that he had? He looks like a legit back. I'm excited to see what he could do. Moose with that catch and just the ability to get open. And we heard about all these catches at practice. I witnessed a couple of them. Seeing that in real time in a game that matters, that was beautiful to see. And yes, we talked about Damon Demas, his beauty, his catching ability, his ability to get open, those 2 catches for 100 yards. What a way to tell the college football world, hey, remember me, the 5-star guy from a couple years ago? I'm back, and I'm playing well. Huge to see him doing that. What else you got, Ana Rosa?
Jim from Temple says, I noticed when we ran to veteran left tackle Jameer Johnson, we were much better than when we were right, where Trainer was struggling. Would like to see Smart Chibuzo and Jordan Moko emerge on that side in time. Hopefully, Layden Robinson, is good to go against Archie and Kenyon Green back at right tackle.
Yeah, yep. Look, I thought I love what I've seen from Layden this year, and getting him back will be huge. And yes, Trainer did struggle quite a bit initially, and really throughout that game. But there are some other pieces in there that will certainly make it good. Billy Liucci is in here with us here in studio on the Rollo Insurance Studio, and Luch, we're talking about. We played the bite from Jimbo earlier about being average, and when he talked about that at half, and then afterwards him being questioned about it. It's a good place to be where you're winning 34-0 and it's not good enough, and they have played average in many spots.
Yeah, I think no question about it. They, they're not out there looking dominant in the running game. I mean, I know Isaiah went for almost 120. But they're not out there looking dominant in the ground game. They're not, they go up 14-0 like that and look terrific and then hit a lull. Defensively, they were great this week, but they're giving up a lot running the football, And I know this week it wasn't so much, but they did against Colorado throughout the first half, and they did at times against Kent State. So they haven't looked like, I say they haven't looked like they did it this time last year, but what I don't get is that, that's understandable, but now we're all, I think, as fans, and I think in that building, now the sense of urgency is really heightened. So I think everyone would have loved to have seen 4 quarters of just dominance Saturday against a really bad football team. 34-0 is dominant, and it could have been worse. They came out in the second half and said, we're going to run the ball, after about one drive in, and they were like, now we need to establish the run, and they did that. But it's still, to me, David, what would it have really mattered? Yes, you if you have your preference, it's one thing, but if they beat New Mexico 52-0 versus 34, and they extend, and instead of the first 2 drives, they scored on the first 4, and it was 24-0. I don't think that changes how you really would feel going into this Arkansas game. It's a dangerous game. They're a really good opponent. I don't think they're great. They're really good. And A&M's going to have to play a hell of a lot better than they have. And I think they're going to have to shore up some of these areas in a hurry. And we know that it has to happen now in a matter of 7 days from when they took the field against New Mexico. And if it doesn't, there's a good chance they'll lose a football game for the first time in damn near a year. But remember, a year ago at this time, they stunk against Vandy. They got blown out against Bama, but they saw Jimbo and the players, when you talk to them after the season, they saw real signs that day that, hey, this thing's about to come together. And they knew they'd have a real shot against Florida. I don't know if they've seen those signs yet, outside of what they've seen on defense. Like maybe on defense they're going, okay, we're more prepared to shut down the run than our stats say. Maybe they're watching tape and doing that. Offensively, I don't see how they can necessarily see it yet, other than to say maybe like, okay, Zach took a big step from last week to this. That would be significant. Outside of that, I don't know where they would see that yet. It's going to happen. It's just a question of when. And to expect that they wouldn't struggle some on offense, especially if I'd have told you that Haynes King was going to get hurt. I don't understand how anyone could think otherwise. Now, you say, well, I thought the O-line would be a little better. Yeah, so did I through 3 games. That would be my one thing. Outside of that, look, Caleb Chapman didn't play one of the 3 games. Hez Jones been out all 3. You started a first-time starter at quarterback.
Right.
He got hurt in game 2. Your O-line, you lost a starter during game 2. He was hurt throughout game 2. So in game 3, you shuffled everything up. You played another guy that's never played. Probably learned he wasn't ready for SEC play yet. So maybe that's a good thing. They'll have to go with, I think, a different option if that were to happen again. But all of those things going on, and you would expect them to go out and look really good, like a fine-tuned machine offensively. I don't think so. I'd rather it look that way. But Now comes, can they kind of survive and advance these next couple weeks as they continue to get better? Because they will. But, yeah, what we've seen the first 3 weeks, I don't think beats Arkansas. But I think what we can see, they're not so far off that they're not going to go out there Saturday. If they play a really good game Saturday, I think they win. If they play a good game Saturday, I think they win. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, they'd have to play their best game of the 4. And I don't think that that's an outlandish expectation to place on these guys. This team that has won 11 in a row, this team that, look, we talked about it yesterday. Look around the rankings. It's not just A&M. Oklahoma, how the hell are they number 4? Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Iowa. I don't even want to mention them up there. How about Penn State? So everyone's going crazy, and they should be ranked where they are because they've been challenged in a way that other teams, they beat Wisconsin and they beat Auburn. They deserve the ranking. But they also, like, who's to say Auburn's not going to be a 3-5 team? They don't look like it right now, but they played Penn State. What if Arkansas would beat Penn State? Like, I think all these teams are pretty similar. I think if Arkansas and Penn State played, it would be a 4-quarter, 60-minute football game right now. So if Arkansas beat Auburn in the closing minutes, no one would be worried about Auburn. They go, they're okay. But they go up there and they almost beat Penn State. So it's like, oh, they went in there to the white. I mean, the atmosphere was badass. But Penn State as a football team, are they that good, or are they just getting a chance to play in some couple of high-profile games early? Wisconsin, that was a disgustingly ugly game. So I'm looking around that top 10, and it's just like, all right, you know what it is, David? It's time for A&M to – I know they were challenged at Colorado. I swear to you, that still – Haynes going down when about 50% of your damn game plan is predicated on the speed option. And did they handle the adjustment? Well, probably not. But that is we talked about, that's a tough situation that actually teams typically will lose. To me, this is the first big game of the year for A&M. This is the first test where everyone in that locker room is up all week. You know what's coming. You know you're in for a 60-minute fight. It's a conference game. Both teams are ranked. This is the Ags' first big game of the year. Other teams have gotten to play those yet. A&M has not.
Players are like fans. We're all human. We all see what's the schedule. Okay, New Mexico, we should win no matter what we do. Colorado, yes, it may be a little tough, but we should win that game. Kent State the same way. They are humans, and this week, this is a huge neutral site game where you have dominated. You've won 11 in a row, and your manhood has – huh?
Oh, you've won 11 in a row as a team. Yeah, what's the Arkansas?
I think it's
9
straight.
Since they joined the SEC.
So you got that going for you.
And it's going to be a damn Super Bowl atmosphere in there if the Aggies step up. Aggies, step up and get your butts over there to Jerry World Saturday, because Arkansas is going to load that place out. They are going to buy every available ticket. Don't let the maroon and white get embarrassed on the crowd standpoint.
We were so proud of
Colorado.
Colorado.
We do not need that thing to be 65-35. Yeah, Colorado was incredible.
Do it again.
Texas A&M is ranked number 7 in the country. Your football team hasn't lost a game in 11 tries. It's almost an entire season. You are 2 games away from setting up one of the games of the year in college football right here. Help your team get through that by showing up in Dallas, because, man, that is this is a monster game. And I don't know that the vibe I'm getting from my friends and people on the boards quite understand how big this game is. It's a battle of essentially 2 top 15 teams, and you're sitting there ranked number 7, number 5 in one of the polls. You've got a top 5 A&M football team that hasn't lost in 11 games. Let's get out there, and I think that should be a major, like New Year's 6, better than that even, because that should be a major bowl atmosphere in Jerry World.
100% agree with that. We'll have more of that with Billy here and talk a little bit more about that O-line having to get nasty moving forward. I want to remind you to text radio to 900-900 for your chance to win the Big Friday giveaway courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. And I'm going to pull this one out today. I saw it earlier, and I was like, I got to get this. I really got to get this one right here. It is the Texas A&M Cutter and Buck Traverse striped half zip. It is my style of top, man. I love this bad boy. Giving it to everybody on the stream right there so they can check it out. It is nice, really, really nice. It's dry tech material for that moisture wicking and breathable for maximum comfort. So if it's cool outside or if it's a little bit warm, you can still wear it. It's very breathable for maximum comfort, and they still have that impressive 50-plus UPV. Features white beveled A&M on the left side. But this is the material that I've been talking about. This is what they do there at Aggieland Outfitters. You really want to check it out. It is the Texas A&M Cutter and Buck Traverse stripe half zip, valued at $129.99. It is a beauty. If you're in town, come by Aggieland Outfitters, take a look at it before you go to a game here, or just go online and check them out at AggielandOutfitters.com. They have it. You need to get it. It's one of those that might end up in my closet.
This is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
If you own construction equipment and need custom hydraulic hoses, get 10% off at WPI. WPI also has the best price in town for DEF at $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From O-rings and teeth, buckets and blades, any part for every brand of equipment is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Everyone has a story to tell, and we want to keep telling your story, the stories that you really care about. Visit KRHDnews.com to submit your story, explaining why you think someone has a great story to tell. From things to celebrate to things that inspire change, everyone has a story to tell, and we want to tell yours. Our news team is anxiously waiting to hear your stories and continue connecting with the Brazos Valley. Visit KRHDnews.com to tell us your stories to be featured on air and online.
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to Amarillo National Bank, Glenn College, BCS Toyota, and Ed Phillips Plumbing. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at storycorpsconnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with child star Haley Mills about her mentor, Walt Disney.
He had a vision, and he wanted to keep that vision, and he fought for it.
Yes.
And he was a great artist. He was a genius. Let's not beat about the bush. He was a genius.
Sports Talk, striving for genius standards, weekdays from 4 to 6 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
They got to be put the hats where they be where they got to be, and you got to move people. You can get in somebody's way and block people. I want people moved, and they can do that. I watch us do it on our guys. And you got to get the twist, you got to get the stunts, you got to see it, you got to anticipate the blitzes. You got to carry it from the practice field to the game field, and you got to want to be nasty. That's grown man ball in there, man. That's big boy ball. That ain't for the faint of heart. You got to put your nose in there and like it.
and like it is the the right way to phrase it. Jimbo Fisher here yesterday talking about that offensive line. You're listening to TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And if you're in the market for an engagement ring, wedding band, or stackable anniversary ring, save the date for David Gardner's Ring in Season promotion. October the 13th through the 16th, David Gardner's will have an extended selection of diamonds, engagement rings, wedding bands, and more. Don't miss an opportunity to swing by while they have the largest selection of the year at the very best prices. Special pricing or extended financing will be offered. Appointments are not required, but highly encouraged. Go to davidgardnersjewelers.com to check it all out. Click the engagement tab and scroll to the very bottom. Good stuff there. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio talking about the game against New Mexico. Moving on, getting ready for that Arkansas game that we'll be at on Saturday at Jerry's World. Should be an electric atmosphere. Billy talked about not letting down the Aggie football team, guys. If Arkansas, they're looking at this as their Super Bowl, let's load that bad boy up. I always expect it anywhere, really even outside of Texas, but I do expect it here in Texas, especially Jerry's World, to have that place cracking and just loaded. Hopefully we will see a lot of fans out there making a lot of noise in what could be a very close game. So we've been talking about the O-line and the ability to get nasty, the bite there. Jimbo talks about how he has seen it at practice, but it's a little different come game time, right? There's a game speed and a game intensity that does change it. But the fact that they have done it against the Aggie defense, and Jimbo's saying they've done it, to me is, guys, we may be seeing it real soon. Hope.
Well, I think what you're getting at is the word experience. And in practice, I don't care how many times you do it. It's so much easier. It's some coach in your ear telling you what to do. When you mess up, he tells you right there on the field. You do it the next rep. The defense knows what the offense is doing. The offense knows what the defense is doing. It's not no matter what you try to replicate, it's not the same intensity. Maybe a certain period here or there, maybe a certain scrimmage day where things are really up. But typically it's not going to be, it's completely different. And so when you're thinking a lot, like I look at Bryce Foster, I see people on the boards are like down on how he's performed. I'm like, yeah, I saw some bad plays and they result directly in TFLs. And so if you make a couple, 3 of them in a game, it stands out. But I also see him making some like badass next level type blocks in games. But I see a guy that's thinking. Deuce Fothery had never taken a meaningful snap until Saturday. Same with Blake Traynor. I don't care if they're playing New Mexico or anybody. And the guy, Joey Noble, I was going to write about him before the game as one of the matchups, and I didn't. I wish I had. Because that he's a good college football player. He's not special. Hell, who knows, though? He might be an NFL player. Plenty of them come from New Mexico.
Sure.
Hell, I played with 2 of them in high school. I went to New Mexico, went to the NFL. For those listening from Kempner, Billy Austin, Winslow Oliver, they both played for Fran at New Mexico and went to the NFL. So I'm not – Noble's a good player. You've never played a snap of college football, and then you're going to pick up all those twists and stunts. And even guys like Aki and Layden didn't play. They hadn't played much. So, and then you shuffle guys around. It is – I think it's been brutal – on the O-line so far, not so much of who they're playing, but what they're up against in terms of just not knowing a damn thing. But now their stride should be this every week, and I think we were kind of robbed of being able to see how much progress they'd made as a unit Saturday because of the shakeup. And Traynor did have a rough game out there.
Yep.
He did. And I think they got to get Fothery ready as soon as possible. And I think that you go back to Kenyon Green and Layden from everything I heard, I'm like, he'll be ready to go and could have been ready to go. Really could have used that week off, though, to be fully healthy for Arkansas, which they're going to need. But once they get to where they know what they're doing, those guys individually, I've seen Jameer Johnson on tape in the SEC. He's nasty. We've seen what Kenyon Green can do. He just needs a little more work at tackle. It's clearly not natural to him. In terms of, he's still figuring out how to take that really deep pass set. And that's something that worries me this week in Arkansas. If they just put a guy really like a really wide set defensive end or pass rusher, and make him get that depth, it could be uncomfortable, unnatural for him this early on. So even your great player is going through a learning curve. But we've seen Layden get nasty and physical. Everything I've heard about Aki is he's like that as well. And we've seen what Bryce does when he's able to just play. So these guys just have to do it, man. It's like young linebackers, and they don't fit things up right, and you're going, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it kind of comes to them. Aaron Hansford, he impressed me every once in a while early on with how he ran. But I was like, I don't know if he'll ever be like a true linebacker, just fitting it up in there. And then as time went on,
he got there.
He certainly did. So, yeah. I mean, and that's how those O-linemen have to be. You can't think too much and play football. And what I mean by that is you have to be smart, but you have to have, you can't be paralyzed, paralysis by analysis. You can't be sitting there no matter. I remember I always talk about this because I was living with him at the time, and Christian Rodriguez. They were in Mike Hankwitz's defense, and Hankwitz is really good, and Christian's as smart a dude as you'll meet, football-wise or not. But he was think, was really ineffective for a while. And in the year of 2001, and Coach Waddell could tell you this next time he's on, they and I say this, Christian's a smart guy, they dumbed it down. You could ask Ty about it too. They were doing too much defensively. I think Wyoming a couple weeks earlier kind of went up and down the field on them, and they were terrible. And they simplified everything. And Christian went on to have by far his best year as a senior, like probably earned some all Big 12 mention along the way. And it was because even as a senior and even as a guy who's extremely intelligent, you had to just go out there and play football and don't think too much on every snap. But when you're a young lineman that's never played, that's the one position where you absolutely have to. You don't have a choice. Because in your head, every play, you have to figure out exactly who you think it is you're going to block. That's affecting these guys clearly right now. Now, again, you should be doing this every week. And like I said earlier, we're out of time.
It's go
so
time.
you can't play Arkansas Saturday and, get made to look like Texas's O-line did. Because if you do, we'll be here talking about a loss and 0-1 in SEC play and the broken streak against Arkansas and the broken streak overall and a big dent in that Alabama showdown, and then a question of now we're a third of the way done with the season and this line still hasn't done anything of note. So this is a big game for them. I really believe this is a huge game for this offensive line and this running game to just kind of step up and man up. Because if you tell me A&M will run the ball with some success, then I believe they'll win that football game.
The remainder of the show, YouTube, we'll see you guys. Go to TexAgs.com, become a subscriber so you can watch the remaining hour and a half of the program. Tom Hart going to be joining us here in a moment. But right now I want to talk about Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart at Elms Orthodontics. My boys are going to be going back to Houston this weekend just to get a fix-up of their grill, and we had already paid for it before we moved. So this is probably their last time to go out there. And you know where they're going to link up? They're going to link up with Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart because they've got a reputation around town of being great. They'll fix your smile, adult, kid, whatever it may be. They've been doing it for a long, long time. Dr. Troy Elms, class of 86, mainstay in the community over 30 years, 16-time Best of the Brazos winner. He is a platinum-level Invisalign provider. And you've got Dr. Jeremy Stewart as well, class of 03, also does the Invisalign, and just a big TexAgs fan and does great work here in the community. You want to go check them out. Go fix that smile. You don't want to have a bad grill when you talk to girls out there, guys, if you're a young boy out there or whatever. Just as a public speaker, fix that grill. They can do it for you. Reach out for that free consultation, 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-1150, or online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. A food drive for Louisiana families affected by Hurricane Ida is being held Saturday from 8 to 5 at Sam's Club. Get a free car seat inspection Saturday morning at the Brazos Center parking lot. Appointments are required. Click the link on our community calendar at WTAW.com. The Brazos Valley Beekeepers Association invites you to their one-day bee school this Saturday. Visit bvbeaks.org for more information. BCS Habitat for Humanity announces its Financial Literacy Workshop Series. Thursday evenings this month. Find a schedule of topics and more information at habitatbcs.org. The Theater Company presents the musical comedy The Wedding Singer. Performances run through October 3rd. Purchase tickets online at theatercompany.com. Your home for football with the Fightin' Texas Aggies, the Bryan Vikings, the Houston Texans, plus Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night NFL from Westwood One is Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom